Chapter 3. Showing the resilience of a determined spirit in the face of disappointment. Carrie drove off, the cottage shrinking in her rearview mirror. She should have felt free, but a nagging thought that she was leaving something behind tugged at her ribs. Screw it! World, here I come, she told herself, turning the car toward the city. Everything's planned out perfectly. She kept the windows down, despite the December heat, letting the warm breeze thread through her ponytail as she navigated the familiar suburban corners. Her head was half filled with planned shots, half with the echo of Bronwyn's reassurance and the memory of Rowena's bright smile at breakfast. They'll be fine. Stop worrying. And Lucy will be at lunch, ready for our grand adventure. The relaxed, leafy streets of Balgola Heights bled into the busy arterials feeding the city. She tapped her phone to start her road trip playlist, letting Cold Chisel's K-Sun drown out the chaotic thoughts that threatened to bubble up. Perfect, she thought, as Don Walker's piano rolled in. Nothing like a bit of classic Oz rock to feel like you were actually going somewhere. Lucy had suggested they meet at the house canteen at noon, giving them plenty of time for a proper lunch before their assigned boarding time of 2 p.m. They'd been planning this trip for months, ever since Lucy had spotted the literary cruise advertised in the Weekend Australian.
Alexander McCall Smith.
She'd squealed over the phone.
And we can share cabin costs. It's perfect, Carrie.
It had seemed perfect then, before Mum's health had deteriorated so dramatically. As she approached the Sydney Harbour Bridge, the city skyline resolved into focus, a hard-edged composition of glass and steel simmering in the summer heat. Carrie couldn't see the water from her lane, but she knew the Queen Elizabeth was down there somewhere, waiting for them. The bridge's arch curved overhead, and for a moment she was suspended between her old life and whatever came next. 2 lanes of traffic and a pedestrian walkway separated her from the harbour views. But she could feel the presence, the vast, open-air promise of the sea. This is it, she thought. This is really happening. Traffic crawled as she descended toward the city, but Carrie didn't mind. She was meeting Lucy soon, and they'd have a couple of hours to explore the ship together before it sailed. The overseas passenger terminal appeared ahead, its angular modernist form dwarfed by the Queen Elizabeth towering beyond. A cluster of taxis and private cars jostled for position in the drop-off zone. She pulled into the 5-minute parking area, grabbed her 2 bags from the boot. Both were tagged with the labels she'd downloaded, printed, and tucked into plastic protectors. Cabin 7098, Ms. C. Watson. She'd chosen that particular cabin months ago, a special detail drawing her eye. Inside the terminal, a woman in a crisp uniform pointed her towards the baggage drop with a flick of her wrist, barely breaking stride. Carrie might have to wait, but her luggage could enjoy the ship. Back in her car, she glanced at her watch. 11:30. She pulled out of the terminal and navigated the busy streets around Circular Quay, heading for her secret weapon, the Opera House long-stay car park. The garage beneath the Opera House swallowed her little Polo, the sound of tyres echoing off the walls. She found her pre-booked space and locked the car, shouldering her camera bag. 5 days, she thought, patting the Polo's roof. See you Monday. Last time she'd been here was months ago. She and Lucy had taken in a performance of St. Matthew Passion, the massed choir filling the hall with cascades of sound. At the break, they had stood outside, drinking a glass of wine, watching the floodlights turn wind-blown raindrops far above into magic. God! But she was looking forward to this cruise. Above ground, tourists milled around the Opera House forecourt, posing for selfies against the lofty sails, their phones and cameras capturing the same shots that had been taken 1,000,000 times before. The chatter of a dozen languages mixed with the cries of seagulls and the distant rumble of city traffic. Carrie pulled out her camera, unable to resist. A young couple was silhouetted against the harbour, the man down on one knee, the woman's hands covering her mouth in surprise. Click! An elderly woman helping her granddaughter pose against the Opera House steps, both of them laughing at some shared joke. Click! A tour group following their guide's raised umbrella like a colourful parade. Click! This is what I've been missing, she thought. This is who I am. She walked along the waterfront, breathing in the warm summer air with its hint of salt when the wind gusted just right. The house canteen beckoned from beneath the Opera House's southern shell, its outdoor tables filled with the lunchtime crowd. Inside, she scanned the restaurant for Lucy's familiar auburn curls and didn't see them. Early, she thought, checking her watch. 11:50. She joined the queue at the counter, studying the menu while keeping an eye on the entrance. She ordered crispy pork belly bao, Vietnamese chicken salad, prawn spring rolls, and a glass of Hunter Valley Semillon, before finding a table under the awning with a perfect view across Sydney Cove. There, beside the Rock's historic sandstone buildings and under the great arch of the harbour bridge, sat the Queen Elizabeth. Even from this distance, she looked magnificent. A floating palace of white superstructure and elegant lines. Now, all she needed was Lucy's laugh and cynical wordplay. What would she say right now?
If punctuality were a crime, I'd have a life sentence.
She smiled at the Lucy in her head.
Carrie, bloody hell, where have you been?
She turned to see Carlos approaching with a tray, his familiar grin wide as he recognized her. She'd been a regular here during her working days, grabbing lunch between shoots or meeting clients. Carlos, good to see you, mate.
Thought you'd abandoned us for some fancy cafe in Manly.
He said, setting down her order.
Waiting for someone? You keep looking at the door?
My friend Lucy. We're going on a cruise together.
The literary one. 5 days on the water with bookworms and champagne flutes?
He gave her a teasing grin.
Sounds very you.
Lucy's the rider. I'm just along to enjoy the ride. Carlos nodded toward the ship.
That your private yacht?
That's her.
Bloody hell. I'll have to call you Princess Carrie.
He checked his watch.
Your friend's running late?
Carrie felt the first twinge of concern. Lucy was obsessively punctual, a legacy of her journalism career before she'd become a successful mystery writer. She'll be here. Probably got caught in traffic. But by 12:15, there was still no sign of Lucy. Carrie had eaten half her lunch, checking her phone every few minutes. No messages, no missed calls. She tried calling Lucy's mobile and got voicemail. Hey, it's me. Where are you? I'm at the canteen. Call me. 12:30 came and went. The excitement that had fizzed in her veins all morning began to go flat. This wasn't like her friend at all. Lucy had been looking forward to this cruise for months, ever since her latest Clock Doc mystery had hit the bestseller lists.
I need this break, Carrie.
She'd said over wine just last week.
7 books in 2 years, and my editor wants another by Easter. I'm bloody exhausted.
Everything all right, princess?
Carlos appeared at her table, concern creasing his features. I don't know. My friend was supposed to be here an hour ago. She's never late.
Maybe she got held up at work. You know how it is.
Maybe. But Lucy worked from home now, writing in her converted garage studio in Leichhardt. What could possibly hold her up? At 12:50, her phone finally rang. A wave of relief washed through her as Lucy's name lit the screen. A wave that receded just as quickly. Lucy never called late. Something was wrong. Thank God, where are you?
Carrie,
The voice was strained, thinner than she'd ever heard it.
I'm so sorry. I'm at Royal Prince Alfred in emergency.
Carrie's stomach gulped. What happened? Are you okay?
Fell down my bloody stairs this morning, carrying a box of books down to the car, missed the last step, went arse over tit.
Lucy tried to laugh, but it came out shaky.
Thought I'd just bruised my ribs, but the pain got worse. Turns out I've cracked 2 ribs and they want to keep me overnight for observation. Something about watching for complications.
Oh, Lucy, I'm so sorry.
I'm gutted, Carrie. Literally, I was so looking forward to this.
Carrie closed her eyes. Suddenly, the whole trip felt hollow. 5 days sharing a cabin with her snarky bestie, gossiping about the other passengers, attending literary talks together, exploring Hobart's markets and galleries. Gone. What about the cruise? She asked.
That's why I'm calling. Don't you dare cancel because of me.
Lucy's voice gained strength.
The doctor says if everything looks good tomorrow, I might be able to fly to Hobart and join the ship there. Catch the last 3 days.
Really?
Maybe, depends on how I feel. But Carrie, you have to go. You need this break more than anyone. When was the last time you did something just for yourself?
Too long, Carrie thought. Way too long. Are you sure? I feel terrible leaving you in hospital.
Don't be ridiculous. My sister is coming to pick me up tomorrow. If they discharge me, I'll be fine. Promise me you'll go.
It won't be fun without you.
Nonsense. I feel like a character in one of my own books, conveniently slipping on a cat toy so you can get up to mischief without me. Don't let all this trouble go to waste. Go, girl.
Carrie smiled despite herself. Across the water waited the Queen Elizabeth, her dark blue hull gleaming in the afternoon sun. Passengers would already be boarding. I promise, she said. But you better bloody make it to Hobart.
I'll do my best. Now go enjoy that ship. Take photos of everything so I can live vicariously. And if Alexander McCall Smith is half as charming as his books, get his autograph from me.
I will.
And Carrie, don't spend the whole time worrying about me or your mum. This is you time. I want to see smiles.
After Lucy hung up, Carrie stared at the magnificent ship across the water, the whole cruise suddenly reforming in her mind, smaller and lonelier. She'd been looking forward to sharing this adventure, to having someone to laugh with and compare notes with about the literary presentations. An actual author to explain the craft, fill in the gaps. Now she'd be on her own. Maybe that's not such a bad thing, she thought. When did I last have time completely to myself? She gathered her things and headed toward the ferry terminals. The walk around Sydney Cove took her past the Museum of Contemporary Art, its bold facade a stark contrast to the colonial buildings nearby. Street performers lined the promenade, a mime, a caricaturist, a folk singer. Carrie lifted her Leica. Click. A little girl solemnly dropped coins into the singer's case. Every face has a story, she thought, quickening her pace. A story waiting for my eye and my lens. The overseas passenger terminal loomed as she approached, and the yet larger Queen Elizabeth filled more and more of her vision. Up close, the sheer scale of the ship was overwhelming, a floating monument to elegance and old-world luxury. Her dark hull rose from the water like a steel cliff, topped by decks and superstructure that gleamed white in the afternoon sun. Carrie paused and framed a shot to capture the moment. Terminal, ship, opera house, passengers wheeling luggage. There's the story at a glance. She joined the queue, pulling out her booking confirmation and passport. The crew at the check-in desk were crisp and professional, their uniforms immaculate, their smiles genuine but practiced.
Miss Watson, welcome to the Queen Elizabeth.
The young officer said, scanning Carrie's documents.
First time sailing with Cunard?
First time on this ship, Carrie said, but I'm no stranger to travel.
Excellent. You're in cabin 7098 on deck 7. Here's your ship card.
He handed her a plastic key card embossed with the Cunard logo.
This opens your cabin and charges purchases to your account.
Thanks. Actually, I should mention, my cabin mate may be joining us in Hobart. She's had a medical emergency.
Oh dear, I hope she's all right. If she does join us, we'll arrange for her ship card to be ready at the Hobart terminal.
Will do.
Any other questions about the ship or your voyage?
Just one. Carrie hefted her camera bag. I'm a photographer. Any restrictions on where I can shoot? His smile became more genuine.
Not at all. The Queen Elizabeth is a beautiful ship, and we're always happy when guests want to capture her. Just be mindful of other passengers' privacy and avoid flash photography in the restaurants.
Understood.
Enjoy your voyage, Ms. Watson.
Ship card in hand, Carrie walked toward the gangway, heart thudding. This was the threshold. Land behind her, 5 days of sea and uncertainty ahead. Her hands pulled tighter on her camera strap, even as a grin tugged at her lips. She'd counted on Lucy's chatter to fill the gaps. Now it was just her, alone with her camera and her thoughts. The gangway stretched ahead, a broad steel ramp leading from the gritty concrete of the terminal to the polished deck of the ship. Ship's officers stood at either end, welcoming passengers aboard with crisp salutes and warm greetings. The smell of the sea was stronger here, mixed with the faint scent of polish and luxury that seemed to emanate from the ship itself. She paused at the end, camera in hand. The dark hull of the ship rose beside her, blocking her view of anything but maritime elegance. No harbour views now, just the promise of what lay ahead. Now she frowned. Something she'd left behind nagging at her. Her passport, a lens, a cable. No, Mum. She stepped forward, her boots echoing on the deck plates, and crossed from her regular existence into something exotic, in the middle of Sydney.
Welcome aboard the Queen Elizabeth, Ms. Watson.
A crew member said, checking her card.
Your literary adventure begins now.
Carrie smiled, shouldering her camera bag and stepping into the ship's elegant interior. Yes, she thought. It bloody well does.